Murder for hire right here in central Mississippi. This case has finally come to a close with the sentencing today of Jessica Leeann Sledge. She'll do 10 years in federal prison plus another 3 years of probation when she gets out. Here's the story from WLBT. And a funny story, this girl used to bartend for me back in the early 2000s at one of my bars. I know people always say, I never thought they would do that, but she was a good girl, man. I never really thought she would do it. I mean, there was crazy stuff, but nobody ever thinks anything can be this crazy, right? Wrong. Here's a story from WLBT. Pelahatchie woman who pled guilty to hiring a hitman to kill her now ex-husband will spend the next 10 years behind bars. Monday, U.S. District Court Judge Carlton Reeves sentenced Jessica Leeann Sledge to 120 months in a federal prison, followed by 3 years supervised probation and fined her $1,000. Reeves cited author Byran Stevenson's book, Just Mercy, saying, quote, "Each person is more than the worst thing they've ever done." This is obviously a case of that based on letters of and her criminal history. But this is an egregious crime. Scheming to kill an individual is an extraordinary offense. Any sentence must reflect that this is indeed a serious offense. Sledge pled guilty in February to using interstate commerce facilities in the commission of a murder for hire. She declined to make a statement during her sentencing, allowing her written statement to the court to stand and allowing her attorney to speak on her behalf. According to previous testimony, Sledge was attempting to hire a hitman to murder her husband, or ex-husband now, Jerry. The two have gotten a divorce or in the process of getting a divorce, according to comments made during Sledge's sentencing. The sentencing began around 9 a.m. but was recessed shortly for Judge Reeves to read some 24 letters submitted on the defendant's behalf. Reeves says she took those letters as well as the nature of the crime into account when handing down the sentence. U.S. Assistant Attorney David Fulcher recommended the court give the full 10-year sentence that was offered as part of the plea deal. Sledge's attorney, John Collette, asked for leniency, saying that his client was remorseful for her actions and that she was a first-time offender with zero chance of recidivism. Fulcher rebutted Collette's claims, directing the judge to a transcript of Sledge speaking to the undercover agent who she believed to be the hitman. According to the persistence report, Sledge told the agent that there was potentially a second person she wanted to kill and that one would have to be in a different manner. Fulcher also said that Sledge told the hitman she was in a 2-year romantic relationship with another man and talked of marriage after the hit occurred. The premeditation of this, the effort she went to plan this over time, he said, but for the fact the FBI introduced an undercover agent, Miss Sledge knew this murder was going to take place. Collette, though, said there was no evidence that Sledge was going to kill a second victim, saying his client was testing out the FBI agent. The government has played this second victim card from the arraignment to today. There was never, ever any second person they had all this time. If there was a second person, there would have been another charge and another person, he said. Collette said his client made a terrible mistake, but she wouldn't be locked up or thrown away from life. Let me say that again. Collette said his client made a terrible mistake, but she shouldn't be locked up and thrown away for the rest of her life. Reeves, too troubled by the nature of the crime. We do know that there was multiple calls with an undercover agent, numerous calls, follow-up conversations, where to locate the husband, where he would be at a particular time, the method that ought to be used to execute the plan, he said. The judge also pointed out that there was never a point during Sledge's conversations that she was scared or that she had second thoughts about going through with the killing. What we have here is a methodical plan to kill the husband, he said. All of that is very troubling to the court and the law itself. Reeves said the court would recommend that Sledge complete her sentence at the Federal Bureau of Prisons Women's Facility in Aliceville, Alabama. The low-security prison is the closest women's facility to the city of Jackson. The judge said once Sledge gets out of jail, she'll be subject to 3 years probation and will be required to pay a $1,000 fine and a $100 special assessment. She also will not be allowed to contact the victim. You know, that's interesting. Only a $1,000 fine for to hire a hitman. I mean, it's a moot point when you're spending 10 years in jail, but a total of $1,100 in fines That seems a little low, but again, 10 years in jail, 3 years probation, and where would she get the money to pay those things? Like I said, I knew Jessica back in the day. Her and her ex-boyfriend of hers opened up a bar after she worked for me for a while. Look, I'm not going to talk bad about her. I think enough's been said. I don't have anything bad to say about her, except this is really, really messed up. I hope she finds Jesus or whatever it is you do in prison, and she comes out and she can be a asset to society. But you can see that full story online at WLBT.com. And sorry for kind of stumbling over my words a little bit there. I'm reading on a small computer screen while trying to sound a little bit professional. Check out the Clay Edwards Show every Monday through Friday morning on 103.9 WYAB. We discuss the hottest topics in Central Mississippi and across the United States. The podcast is available on all major podcasting platforms and at ClayEdwardsShow.com. Just search Clay Edwards Show. Stay safe.